Hello, Carla, future self. This is Advanced American Nation, Chapter 16 Reflection. Chapter 16 is called Toward the Civil War. It's basically the prequel chapter to the Civil War, like what causes the breakdown that leads into the Civil War. And we've been talking about some of these things, really, over the course of the last few chapters, maybe even more. We had the North and South chapter. That one was probably really the start of it, where it began. We actually go back and revisit some things like treaties and compromises that we talked about in earlier chapters, but now solely in the context of slavery and interstate relations. Looking at my notes for 16, everything went pretty well. I did have a meeting with the other history teachers, the whole history department more or less, and we were talking about maybe incorporating a research paper into the course, me and Gersel, because we were saying how our kids need to be better at research papers, so maybe we could start early. So I'm thinking, since we moved a whole extra I don't have it on here. We did a whole extra chapter last year, because I shot through the course a little faster than Heintzelman used to. And so I had like a whole extra week at the end, so we just did another chapter. But instead this year, we might cut out that last chapter, that extra chapter, and do a research paper instead. So something I'm playing with, something Gersel's playing with. For the advanced kids, things went pretty well. There was an assignment, 16-2, right here, that didn't go as well for the Section 2 kids. It's a difficult, it's not really that difficult, but... So how did Chief Justice Taney reason that Dred Scott was not free, and how did he reason that slavery could not be banned by any slate? You got to pay close attention to the lesson, but the answer is there, and it's fairly glaring. This is, it's not hard to find if you have good reading skills, good English language arts skills. But the two kids struggled a little bit, and I even made it a little easier for them to begin with. But I'll talk about that when we do them. The advanced kids nailed it pretty well. All the submissions are graded, and we averaged probably, 99%. Most of them got it. Almost all of them wrote me like a whole paragraph explaining it. So it went as intended for advanced. We get off on President's Day. The test, I checked, they're all graded already. I graded them last week. The speed grader, I think 97% average class score. And there was an essay question on this one. I think it was an opinion, but they had to know what was happening. A John Brown opinion. Some saw him as a hero, some saw him as a villain, and the class was really split, but a lot of them were split. All of them were like, slavery's bad and he was an abolitionist, which is good, but they didn't like how he killed people, which makes sense. 97% average. This one went well. Virtual lesson was good virtual lesson. It's not a terribly long chapter, so you were able to shove 3 lessons worth of content into a single virtual lesson. It works out fine. And we're starting the Civil War. So, went good for the advanced kids. Not much to change. Did basic upgrading like I've done in all the chapters. Beautifying, particularly the objective page here and the vocabulary, and fixing little errors, changing wording throughout the lessons, and double-checking quiz questions, which I tend to find typing errors in. I neglected that a little bit earlier in the year. I just assumed the quiz was all right. Not true. Got to spell check those quizzes. And make sure that there's not confusing answers. I found throughout the course of the year, a couple were like, that's a little too close to correct. I better change that. So, basic upgrades. Alright. Take care.